No one goes into an idea thinking it'll be mocked. Before Bubsy existed, he was just some concept sketches and ideas. His reputation is more representative of people's fascination towards the 90s edgy mascot craze in general than anything with Bubsy himself. The first Bubsy game had a lot of praise and hype surrounding it. Some players enjoyed it and others were puzzled by the game mechanics. In the first Bubsy game, it had you dying in one hit whenever you would touch an enemy, and for a game that was trying to impress players and as well be the Sonic killer, how would one play a game where you constantly dying a lot? It was hard for people to get around the flaws of the first game. But Bubsy 3D was the one that was ridiculed the most because of its attempt to make it a decent 3D game in a time where 3D games were starting off. The technology was not quite there yet. It was hard for well-known game series to make the leap from 2D to 3D, while at the time, it seemed necessary and essential. Although video games have always caught attention from news, articles, opinions throughout the years, the mid-90s were a pivotal moment of transition. Gamers did not want to stick to always playing 2D games. 3D was the next big thing, and a lot of game companies were ready to jump shift. Michael Berlin, the creator of Bubsy, left Accolade after the first game. He didn't own the license and the rights for his own creation. It was all in the hands of Accolade. Accolade went on to make Bubsy 2, and Michael Berlin said himself, "I left Accolade after the first Bubsy game, and they decided to do a follow-up, which was not very good and really hurt the reputation of the character and the franchise." He then goes on to say that Bubsy 2 was a good attempt made by people who are unfortunately not really designers. Around this time, designers had more responsibility and more control over the product. All Michael Berlin really wanted to do was create a franchise, a character who was different and had a lot of charm. Berlin joined Mark Blank in founding the game company called Editic, which later became Bend Studio. Accolade came to Michael Berlin one more time and begged him to make another Bubsy game, and Michael responded saying that it had to be in 3D. As time passed, the Bubsy 3D game was in the beta phase and was ready to be showed off at press conference events, and at one specific famous event called the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas 1996, Nintendo was showing off Mario 64. Michael Berlin caught sight of the game, and he saw his partner and was like, "Oh shit, we have to go back to the drawing board." Despite what you or I may think about Bubsy 3D, to have this game come out right alongside Mario 64 takes a lot of guts. Everyone knew that Mario 64 was going to be a top seller, and Bubsy 3D would be overshadowed. Mario 64 for Nintendo 64 would eventually be the blueprint process on how to make a fun 3D video game. I feel like nowadays anyone could take a good amount of courses and study to develop a 3D game on their own. Every one of these game companies in the 90s had to take a big risk, and Bubsy 3D was that big risk. Despite having control and a team to work with, it just felt like they were just making another Bubsy game for the sake of just releasing another one, instead of making a fun title. Now in the midst of working on the company's Editic's second game, Siphon Filter, Berlin left the video game industry, which he would later explain in quotation, "I did not like what the game business had become, the people who were driving it, or the nature of the product. I left before it was done and said, 'Do not put my name on the product.' I walked away from my own company." Michael Berlin wanted to make other game ideas. He had some original character concepts that were called Sparky and Bolt and Dingo Dan. He pitched it to Accolade, and Accolade said, in quotations, I don't think so. We're more interested in a Bubsy 4. And then he replied in quotation, "I really think Bubsy's dead by now. Between what you guys did with Bubsy 2 and what I did with Bubsy 3D, it's time to move on." And they actually agreed. What at first was an idea of compassion for the Bubsy series has now turned into a greedy cash grab with no direction, only just something to pump out and get it to the players faster. It hurts to know that Michael Berlin never did own the license or the rights for the Bubsy series. If he did in fact have the rights and license to the Bubsy series, he could have stopped making Bubsy games, or at least passed the license and IP over to someone that he trusted well to make a game. Accolade would defunct as a company in the year 2000, but it would be later acquired and consolidated by Transparent. Transparent acquired Accolade in a deal valued at approximately $621 million. According to Accolade, the transaction was finalized in April 2025, with Accolade shareholders receiving $7.03 per share in cash. Following the acquisition, Accolade's common stock is no longer listed on the Nasdaq, according to multiple sources. As of April 2023, Atari SA has reacquired the Bubsy franchise and is currently publishing new games in the series through Atari Incorporated. Atari SA has acquired the Accolade brand and a bunch of old Infogrames, Accolade, GT Interactive, and Microprose titles. Michael Berlin went on to make casual games, and unfortunately he passed away in 2023. After his passing, Limited Run Games announced the Bubsy Perfect Collection, which included all the retro Bubsy games excluding the Windows 95 port of Bubsy 1 called Super Bubsy. Atari has commissioned Fabraz to work on Bubsy 4D. Fabraz has worked on the hit indie game title called Demon's Turf and has an interesting take on the Bubsy franchise with this new game coming soon. Now we're going to segue into my reaction of Bubsy 4D, which I recorded live on my Twitch channel. Let's check it out. The audio for it. Okay, so right now we're going to be reacting to Bubsy 4D. Everyone's been talking about it lately. It's been trending on Twitter, Instagram, and other places on the internet. And as someone that's played almost all of the Bubsy games, it's really a breath of fresh air to see Bubsy coming back. I know Bubsy is a character that you either hate him so much and you don't like the games, but you're curious to play them, or you like the cartoony-ish type of nature of the games, the aesthetic, the whimsical characters that you see, the just interesting type of scenario that Bubsy puts himself into in these games. And just how much Bubsy talks in a way. I know it's annoying to some people, but that's kind of like his shtick. Like, he's supposed to be annoying. He's supposed to be a character that is very confident in himself. Like, he's definitely overzealous and just confident. And I like the first Bubsy games. I really do like it. We're gonna be reacting to Bubsy 4D, the upcoming game coming soon. And we're going to check out the trailer right now, and this is my first reaction on it, so we'll check it out right now.
Yo, remember me? Your old pal Bubsy? From all those classic games you loved.
Was it something I said? What could possibly go wrong?
Forget about that. Let's talk about the new one.
See, that's the thing, like, I get... Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, I get that Bubsy, the Bubcat, he's moving on to new heights, new adventures. So I guess in a way he's moving on from his past. But to move past that, like, really, that's what made him what the character that he is. You know, Bubsy 1, Bubsy 3D. I know it's infamous game, but to move past that, it's just, I don't know. I thought maybe Bubsy, the character, like, supposed to be so proud that he was in a game like Bubsy 3D. You know, that's kind of like what I get with this character. Like, I was in Bubsy 3D. Probably y'all might have not heard about it, but I was the main star in the game. You know, like, that's what I view Bubsy, like, just so self-absorbed in a way.
Bubsy 4D. This I like. So, where are we going next? Don't mind if I do. Zoink! I wonder if that's more moves than that Italian plumber has. Woo! What? Can anyone explain to me why I turn into a hairball now? They call me the Orange Blur. Do any of these outfits come with pants?
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's cool that the Bubsy 3D skin, the upgrades, like, that's gonna be in the game, like, but then it's like, that's so annoying. Look at this. This is horrible. This is so bad. It's horrible. It's like, really? You know what I mean? Like, I like that this is gonna be in the game, like something that you can unlock. I don't know. And also, you know, the creator of Bubsy, Michael Berlin, like, he worked on Bubsy 3D, so in a way, it's kind of shitting on his. I gotta pick a better word than that. Like, it's overshadowing what he did in the past. The creator of Bubsy, like, he worked on Bubsy 1 and Bubsy 3D. Now, I know Bubsy 3D is not the best game mechanically. The camera angles are not that good. Tank controls in a platformer, in a 3D platform to be exact, that is just hard to get through, right? I'm not gonna kid you. Y'all said it, and I believe it, and I get it. But the whole game in itself, it's like a cartoon. It's not supposed to make any sense, and I don't know, like this trailer, it's sort of, maybe I'm looking outside in, but it definitely rubs me the wrong way because it's like, oh, Bubsy 3D, it's awful. Look at it, it's so freaking awful. Look at it, woo. We're moving on past that. You know, I get that. In a way, it's funny. Like, okay, I get it. In a similar fashion, I know that there was the new Crash Bandicoot game, Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. They just said like, listen, y'all remember Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3? Those other games, we don't care about them. We're moving past that. We're moving on to a new game. This is the new game. I think Bubsy 4D is doing the same exact thing, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that in a sense. This is the sequel to Bubsy 3D, as a lot of people have mentioned.
You know I've only got one brain cell, right? And it's working overtime on this baby. Atari? I didn't even know they were still around.
That's the Bubsy I like. You know, just so sarcastic, just whimsical. And yeah, so this guy Fabraz is making it, and it's gonna be on all these platforms: Atari, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. You know, all these consoles are gonna be on everything. You know, it's a very different approach. You're essentially taking Bubsy, which was a 2D character from the retro days, 16-bit era, PS1 era, and you're pushing it into a new 3D exploration world. Kind of like this is sort of like a Super Mario Odyssey type of game here. I don't know if it's as expansive as Super Mario Odyssey, but it feels like exploration, and that you have collectibles in a way. It might be, I don't know if it's a collectathon, but what I like is how big the levels seem to be. The levels seem very big. Look, there's other characters. I don't know who this character is. It could be from the cartoon. I don't know. It might be from Bubsy 2. I'm not sure, but you see, like, these levels look huge, and it just has like a speedrunning element to it. Like, it feels like speedrunners are definitely going to enjoy this. You know, I love me some collectathons. I love me another highlight of what I saw in the trailer: upgrades. You know, give more life to the game. You know, you have all these cool looking things, skins, all this cool stuff, different abilities. Nice way to tackle any obstacles, any ways to get from point A to point B in a different fashion. It's always good to have abilities, customizable abilities, and different strengths that you could put on the character. And you know, the graphics are really nice. I gotta say. You know, I hate that I paused at this specific screenshot here, but I'm not crazy on the design. I'm not crazy on like how Bubsy look. It just does not. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. It just kind of takes away from like that cartoonish type of look that we all seem to really appreciate. And I don't hate it. I just don't know if I could approach it. I don't know how to feel about this one. It's definitely a different look, and I just don't know how to feel about it. I genuinely hope this is a redemption for Bubsy. I would rather have the gameplay speak for itself rather than how I feel about the way that Bubsy looks. The gameplay looks really fun. And you have him talking a lot. You know, that's his whole shtick. Yeah, these are his nephew and niece from the show, from the cartoon. So like, yeah, there is some source material. There's definitely some source material being used in this game, which I'm really appreciating. So, you know, I don't know how much of the games and, you know, that the developer has played, but it seems like he knows some of the source material. Apparently he does not like Bubsy 3D. That's fine. I mean, everyone has their opinions. He's working on the game. I can't tell him how to make a game, you know. There's some things that I'm a little bit wary of, but that's just my opinion on it. Hopefully it's not a short game. Hopefully it's not a very difficult game where you're struggling with the controls, with the camera. As long as the controls are working and there's a lot of content within this game, I think it'd be a really good game. I don't know if this would be a game of the year, because, you know, how many people want to play Bubsy, right? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not such a big fan of the way he looks. So I wanted to show also. You look at the graphics here, and And this is someone that has worked on a game called Demon's Turf. Now he's working on a upcoming game called Demon Tides. So I want to show you the trailer so you can see that he's using this engine to work on Bubsy 4D. So yeah, you see, like this is like what he's making. This is his character, his OC character that he had for Demon's Turf. He's using the same type of engine to make Bubsy 4D, the character. And that's fine and all. That's his engine. That's his work. You know, that's what he's doing with it. So as you can see, that the developer has a formula to make games, and he used this to make Bubsy 4D. Like this is the route that he's taking, and if I'm guessing correctly, it's going to be a collectathon. It's going to be an open world collectathon. You know, explore as much as you can, and just go as fast as possible. Try to beat the game as fast as possible. Upgrades, abilities, all that. So I'm excited.
And an all-new design for Bubsy. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this trailer, I was starting to think it was gonna be a VR game. The character model. That's
what I'm getting at. Like it feels like a VR, like those VTuber types of skins. That's kind of like what Bubsy reminds me of. He looks like a VTuber. That's what I'm really trying to get at. And I'm not saying like that's a bad thing. It's just like it's definitely a look. It's definitely a look that I wasn't prepared for.
Models look a bit like that of a VTuber, and the name Bubsy.
Oh my god, there you go. Like a guy from YouTube. Thank you. Exactly. Like exactly. It was as I was saying.
Leave me alone.
I can't see. It goes by way too fast. Look, man. Like. All I'm saying is if you take the aesthetic of Bubsy 3D and combine it with the great control feel of Demon Turf, fixed game. If you end off getting to make this, I could see all the YouTube headlines be like, this guy made Bubsy good. It's like, it feels, this is what I'm talking about. It feels like the developer just took this on as a dare, like truth or dare. Hey, you chose dare? Make Bubsy a good game, right? And I don't know, it's like, it just doesn't rub well with me. Next for Braz game is a Bubsy title. I knew it. If anyone can do it, it might be you. That's a nice comment. That's a nice comment right there. I like that. It's, like a fan cheering on the developer to make the game, right? I like that. I definitely like that kind of comment. Laughing my ass off. At this point, there's a chance everyone just keeps bugging you till it happens. And it's like, you want to make the game, make it, but have the passion to make the game good, not because it's a dare, not because people are egging you on to make this game. Like I understand Bubsy does not have a good reputation. Like Bubsy 3D to a lot of people, it's not a fun time. I get that, but I've played Bubsy 3D. At first, when I played Bubsy 3D, I did not enjoy that game, and I'll be right there along everyone that says the same. But I made the game fun for myself, and I start to see the fun side of it. Now, not everyone's gonna agree with me. Years later, if you have the chance to make a new Bubsy, that's a big deal. It's like, you're making a game property that people grew up with in the 90s, and you're working on it. And I just get the feeling like this is just truth or dare. Take on a dare, make the game good. And I don't feel, especially like this was a game that was made by Michael Berlin. This was his treasure. He made a game. He made Bubsy 1 for Super Nintendo Genesis, and he really worked hard on it. And I could see some resemblance in his efforts put into Bubsy 3D. It might not be known. It might not be shown. And it might not be your favorite game, but he did the best. He tried to put some sparkle into the game, trying to make it good. It was a very fierce time for like video game companies, Nintendo 64, PS1. That was kind of the thing. Like, let's make a 3D game. They failed at it. Super Mario 64 was obviously better. They made an effort to make a 3D Bubsy game in like 1996. All right, I definitely went on a tangent here, but thank you all for watching my reaction video on Bubsy 4D.
All I did was tell the truth.
Of course you did. The truth.